Welcome to Quiz Time. I'm your quiz master, Sean, and I've got 100 general knowledge questions for you. Science, technology, mathematics, current events, entertainment, all that stuff. So let's see what we know and have a little fun in the process. You know it keeps us young, right? Question number 1. The Who's on First comedy routine was created by Abbott Costello, was descended from minstrel and turn-of-the-century sketches, was created by Weber and Fields. The Who's on First comedy routine was descended from minstrel and turn-of-the-century sketches. The Hokey Pokey song is known as Hokey Cokey in the UK and Ireland. Is that true or is that false? As it turns out, that is true. Carom billiards is not played on a table without pockets, played with 3 balls, or played with 15 balls. Carom billiards is not played with 15 balls. The first Bakelite phone with integral cradle, dial, and ringer was made in Sweden, the USA, or was it made in Britain? The first Bakelite phone was made in Sweden. In the 1700s, these would train monkeys to snatch wigs from people's heads. Is that true? Or is that just too silly to be true and must be false? Because who would do that? That's true. IHOP was founded in. Was IHOP founded in 1960, 1942, or 1958? IHOP was founded in 1958. The tomb of the Moravian king Childeric I was found in 1653. What happened to the grave goods? They're housed in the Louvre, they're housed in the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, or they were stolen in 1831 and most of them melted down. They were stolen in 1831 and most of them were melted down. Old Faithful is the tallest guys in the world. Is that true or is that false? Well, it does seem reasonable, doesn't it? But it's not true. The tallest is the Steamboat Geyser in Yellowstone National Park. The Granny Smith apple was discovered in, was it Australia, the USA, or France? The Granny Smith apple. That was discovered in Australia. The Hungarian word for quotation marks directly translates to cat claws. Is that true or is that false? It's true. Makes sense. A Nice Cup of Tea is an essay by Mrs. Beeton about the craft of making a cup of tea. Is that true or is that untrue? That's false. It was written by George Orwell. The largest known true crystal ball made of quartz is housed in the Vatican Museum, is also the largest flawless quartz in the world, or is made of rose quartz. One of those is true. Is also the largest flawless quartz in the world. A lion's roar can be heard 1 mile away, 3 miles away, or 5 miles away. A lion's roar can be heard 5 miles away. Ketsuki gata is it a weapon used in karate? Is it a beef dish? Or is it a Japanese belief that blood type determines aspects of one's personality? It's a Japanese belief that blood type determines aspects of one's personality. True or false? Cancer is ranked as the most dangerous zodiac sign according to the FBI. Is that true or is that false? Well, that seems silly, doesn't it? Zodiac sign. It's false. The FBI denies analyzing criminals based on their astrological makeup. A crepuscular animal is active during, is it twilight, midnight, or at evening? A crepuscular animal is active at twilight. What motorboat broke the world water speed record 7 times between 1955 and 1964? A Sunseeker Superhawk 50, Ferry Huntsman 28, or a Bluebird K7? And that was a Bluebird K7. Gilbert and Sullivan's last opera was Utopia Limited. Is that true or is that false? And that is false. Their last work was The Grand Duke. Massive is a habit name used for masses of crystals that have no distinctive geometry, indistinctive crystals that are over a foot, or crystals that grow clumped together. Masses of crystals that have no distinctive geometry. The capital of Yemen is it Abu Dhabi, is it Sana'a, or is it Muscat? The capital of Yemen is Sana'a. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police are colloquially called what in French? La Police Montée, Gendarmerie Royale, or Gendarmerie? They're called La Police Montée. Hamsa in Arabic means, does it mean hand, protect, or 5? Hamza in Arabic means 5. Doyo iri in sumo wrestling is what the ring is called. True or false? And that is false. Doyo iri is the ring entering ceremony performed by wrestlers in the Juryo and Makuchi divisions. The oldest continuously inhabited European founded city in the U.S. is it St. Augustine, Florida? Is it Jamestown, Virginia? Or is it Santa Fe, New Mexico? And it is St. Augustine, Florida. The hawthorn tree's Latin name is it the prunus, is it the crataegus, or is it the rhamnus? It is the crataegus. Lombard banking was a connected group of banks set up in the Lombardy region. And that is false. Lombard banking refers to the Italian money lending business. The term was often derogatory. In 1948, this was the world's fastest production motorcycle. The Vincent Rapide, the Harley-Davidson WR, or was it the Vincent Black Shadow? It was the Vincent Black Shadow. Pedal pushers are another name for plus sizes, a nickname for a young child, or calf-length trousers. And those are calf-length trousers. True or false? Safety harnesses weren't available until the 1940s. Is that true or is that false? And that is true. There's a breed of camel called the Trabochus camelis that has 3 humps. Is that bogus or is that true? And that is bogus. Well, of course there's 3 humps. In the Princess on the Glass Hill fairy tale, what was the color of the second bridle, saddle, and suit of armor that the hero received? Was it silver? Was it brass? Or was it gold? It was silver. The baffle ball is a variety of badminton, the original 1953 name for wiffle ball, or a pinball machine created in 1931. And that's a pinball machine created in 1931. Since the 1950s, this dish has become a widely popular dish in Germany. Is it bratwurst? Is it bockwurst? Or is it currywurst? It is currywurst. Frances Octavia Smith was born in Uvalde, Texas, and grew up to be the first female senator, Dale Evans, or Bonnie Parker. She grew up to be Dale Evans. A 1930s film titled Love Affair paired a then well-known film star with a little-known up-and-comer who is now more famous. Who were these stars? Dorothy McHale and Humphrey Bogart, Bebe Daniels and Edward G. Robinson, or Richard Barthelmess and Betty Davis? Dorothy McHale and Humphrey Bogart. The catchphrase, "I've fallen and I can't get up," was made famous in an ad with, was it Betty White, Jaleel White, or Edith Four? That actress was Edith Four. The UK's first commercially available chips were sold in, was it 1854, 1873, or 1915? And they were first sold in 1854. Which country consumes the most cheese? Is it Canada? Is it Switzerland? Or is it France? The country consuming the most cheese is France. Which of these is not true about hagfish? They give birth to live young. They have a skull but no spine. They have 4 hearts. They give birth to live young. That's not true. The holes in Swiss cheese is caused by carbon dioxide bubbles. Is that true or is that false? The holes in Swiss cheese, that's false. It's caused by a bacterial culture called Propionibacteria. When was the film Sunday in New York released? 1958, 1967, or 1963? The film Sunday in New York was released in 1963. The yo-yo originated in the Philippines, where it was used as was it a child's toy, a hunting weapon, or a tool used to measure water depth? It was originally a hunting weapon. Disney's Dumbo from 1941 was made to recoup the losses of The Reluctant Dragon and Bambi, Fantasia and Pinocchio, or Pinocchio and Bambi. Fantasia and Pinocchio. The Swallow Sidecar Company started in 1922 and in 1945 became Jaguar Cars Limited. Is that true or is that false? That's true. The most popular cheese in the world is it feta, is it cheddar, or is it mozzarella? The most popular cheese in the world is mozzarella. What game was created by Albert Lamouris? Babyfoot, Risk, or Millborns? And that was, he created Risk. The Dutch based their wooden shoes on a wooden sandal worn by the Romans. Is that true, or is that false? And that is true. Who is credited with connecting the phrase, the beautiful game, with soccer? Pelé, Ferenc Puskás, or Eusebio? And that would be Pelé. An early name for badminton was battledore and shuttlecock, racket, or puna. An early name for badminton was puna. China's first pawnbrokers were established, owned, and operated by merchants, monks, or lesser nobles. They were owned and operated by monks. The Riva Aquarama has been praised as the Ferrari of the boat world, the Spitfire of the boat world, or the thoroughbred of the boat world. Riva Aquarama is the Ferrari of the boat world. The first Thomas Cup, the premier men's international badminton event, was held in 1948 and 49. Is that true, or is that false? And that's true. Mensch Argiri dich nicht is a 1914 German. Is it a board game, a movie, or a song? Mensch Argiri dich nicht, I think. That's a board game. Which is the more successful predator? The African lion or the dragonfly? That would be the dragonfly. Lions catch 20% of their prey, while dragonflies catch 95%. I guess that would be successful. Hanaya Yohei is regarded as the inventor of modern sushi. Is that true, or is that false? And that is also true. The king snake's genus name is Lampropeltis, which means bright pelt, shiny shields, or burning rope. And it means shiny shields. Milk snakes got their name from a folktale that describes a snake sneaking into a barn and drinking milk from nursing cows. Is that true, or is that false? Now that just seems silly to me. Which of course probably means it's true. The Old Straight Track is a book by Alfred Watkins about, is it about railroads, archaeological research, or ley lines? It's about ley lines. Amazon.com's original name was Cadabra Inc., but was changed when Bezos' lawyer misheard it as cadaver. Is that fact or is that fiction? That's fact. Good decision. All snakes lay eggs. Is that true or is that false? All snakes lay eggs. That's false. Several snake species, including many vipers and boas, give birth to live young. Ancient cheesemakers' choice for animal milk was from the cow, the goat, or the sheep milk. Ancient cheesemakers. They made their cheese from the goat. They're smaller than cows, easier to transport, and they breed all year, where sheep only mate in the fall and winter. Which city has the largest taxicab fleet in the world? New York City, Luton, or Mexico City? The largest taxicab fleet in the world is in Mexico City. Makes sense. That city's huge. In the 1950s, an American Western film was made where the mayor of the town, as well as two main characters who had a gunfight, were women. Is that fact or is that fiction? That's a fact. The movie is Women They Almost Lynched, 1953. Jaguar's slogan in the early years was Grace, Space, and Pace, Jaguar, a breed apart, or the best of British. Jaguar's slogan was Grace, Space, Pace. Heating the curds during cheese making expels more whey. Making, does it make softer cheese, firmer cheese, or smoother cheese? Heating the curds makes firmer cheese. The property of magnetism was first discovered in antiquity through lodestones, hematite, or magamite. The property of lodestones was discovered through lodestones. Gokagai, 5 flower towns, refers to the 5 geisha districts of Kyoto, Japan's 5 most beautiful prefectures, or Kyoto's 5 most famous gardens. That would be the 5 geisha districts of Kyoto. The first movie where Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy appeared together was Putting Pants on Philip, Duck Soup, or The Lucky Dog. And they first appeared together in The Lucky Dog. Avocados are they vegetables, are they fruit, or are they nuts? Avocados. Just so you know, they're fruit. Rabbits can see behind themselves without moving their heads. Is that true or is that false? And it is true. In 1949, Robert H. Oplanalp invented a crimp on valve used to control aerosol spray, the vacuum bomb, or a mechanical mop. He invented a crimp-on valve used to control aerosol spray. The lionfish is native to the Atlantic, the Indo-Pacific, or the Sulu Sea. Lionfish. They are native to the Indo-Pacific. The great gray owl weighs 5.2 to 7.3 pounds, 10.5 to 12.8 pounds, or 2.2 to 3.5 pounds. The great gray owl weighs 2.2 to 3.5 pounds. What is the oldest continuously inhabited city in Europe? Plovdiv, Bulgaria, Argos, Greece, or Athens, Greece? The oldest continuously populated city in Europe? Plovdiv, Bulgaria. What are the four main ingredients in beer? Hops, yeast, water, and grain, hops, yeast, water, and groot, or yeast, malt, water, and grain? The four main ingredients in beer are hops, yeast, water, and grain. Which Chinese philosopher is not said to have invented the kite? Mozi, Lu Ban, or Confucius? And Confucius is not said to have invented the kite. Amanda Blake was the first pick for Miss Kitty Russell in the Gunsmoke TV series, was a blonde, ran one of the first successful breeding programs for captive cheetahs. Amanda Blake ran one of the first successful breeding programs for captive cheetahs. What game was also called Thimblerig? Cups and balls, conjuring trick, shell game, or Caspi? Thimblerig is a shell game. Marie Camargo was, in the French Resistance during Nazi-occupied Paris, the first ballet dancer to wear a non-heeled slipper, or Louis XVI of France's mistress? Marie Camargo was the first ballet dancer to wear a non-heeled slipper. Which actor logged over 400 hours as a civilian pilot before enlisting for World War II? James Stewart, Clark Gable, or James Cagney? And that actor/pilot was James Stewart. As trade picked up globally, mariners referred to the Arctic, the Atlantic, the Indian, the Pacific, the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, and the Gulf of Mexico as the Seven Seas. Is that true, or is that false? And that is true. Which building held the title of World's Tallest Skyscraper from 1931 to 1970? The Tribune Tower, the Rockefeller Center, or the Empire State Building? 1931 to 1970. That would be the Empire State Building. Traveler's Tour Through the United States is the first board game produced in the U.S. When was it published? 1785, 1822, or 1890? Traveler's Tour Through the United States. That was published in 1822. A teetotum is another word for a teetotaler. Is that true, or is that false? A teetotum is a teetotaler. That's false. A teetotum is a spinning top commonly used for gambling games. Ninkasi was the Mesopotamian goddess of the stars in the sky, love and fertility, or beer and brewing. Ninkasi was the goddess of beer and brewing. The restaurant Tavern on the Green in New York was opened in, did it open in 1919, 1934, or 1946? The Tavern on the Green in New York opened in 1934. Georges Seurat and Paul Signach developed divisionism. Is that true, or is that false? And that is false. They developed pointillism. From the 1500s to mid-1800s, what was commonly used to turn the meat spit? A turnspit dog, clock jacks, or a servant boy? They used a turnspit dog. In the 1940s, hopscotch lagers made of rubber were sold by Hoppy Scotch Company of Utah, Hoppy Taw Company of Utah, or Skippy Scotch Company of Utah. Hopscotch lagers. Hoppy Taw Company of Utah. German professional footballer Bert Trautmann played as was he a goalkeeper, a right full back, or a defensive midfielder? Bert Trautmann was a goalkeeper. The Space Needle in Seattle, Washington was built for the 1962 World's Fair. Is that true or is that false? And that happens to be true. Beavers have extra thick eyelids to protect their eyes while underwater. Is that fact or is that fiction? That they have extra thick eyelids. That is fiction. Beaver eyelids are transparent so they can see while they swim underwater. Acid rain is caused by clouds filled with hydrofluoric acid, emissions of sulfur dioxide and phosphoric acid, or emissions of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide. Acid rain is caused by emissions of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide. The name Poland, Polska in Polish, derives from the pollock fish. Is that true or is that false? Poland is named after a fish. That's false. Polska is derived from the tribe Polani, which means people living in open fields. The oldest vegetable is the pumpkin, pea, or the turnip. The oldest vegetable, that is the pea. Tom Selleck's peak height was 6'7", 6'2", or 6'4". How tall was Tom Selleck at his peak? He was 6'4". The Magellanic penguin lives in, is it South America, Antarctica, or South Africa? The Magellanic penguin. That would be South America. The original Brandenburg Gate was a rather simple gate with guardhouses and was used to collect taxes. Is that true or is that false? And that is true. The blue color of the Polya condensated shiny fruit is created by structural coloration, a process where the color comes from reflected light rather than from pigments. Is that true or false? That's true. And now question 100. Who provided the voice for Robin Masters in all but one of his appearances in the PI Magnum TV series? Orson Welles, Red Crandall, or Ian McKellen? Provided the voice for Robin Masters. That was Orson Welles. Thank you for playing Quiz Time. Don't forget to drop your score in the comments section, please. And don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you never miss Quiz Time when it comes out. Because these quizzes are fun, and together we keep our minds young. So let's do it again, shall we? We'll catch you in the next one.